I didn't want to buy a graduation cap, so here is how I made my own. In Sweden, it's tradition to wear a graduation cap when you finish high school. Unlike in other countries where you should wait until you graduate from university. I guess we like a good reason to drink our social anxiety away. There are 3 major companies that offer online customizers that let you personalize your own graduation cap. So there I was, designing my own cap, when I realized that thing is way too expensive for my cheapskate ass. And I realized I'd never spend that much money on a normal hat, let alone one I'd only use once. So like the bargainer I am, I began scouring the web for cheaper alternatives. But the only other option was a student cap that looked like it came straight off of wish.com. And I wasn't gonna get with a cap that could be confused with a punctured football. So instead, since I love to overload myself with projects, despite my lap full of homework already, I decided to take on the challenge of designing my own cap from scratch. I go to technology programs. I aimed for a futuristic design, which obviously required me to sprinkle on something techie. My friends asked me how I was gonna make the cap myself. They chuckled and asked, 3D printing? I answered, hell yeah. I started off with some good old-fashioned sketches and then moved over to 3D model it in Blender since it's easy to do quick changes. Once I was satisfied, I remodeled it in Fusion 360 to make it more exact, because of course the hat requires industrial precision. I added motorized gears with flashy crystals in traditional technology program's marine blue, inside of which I integrated LEDs. Then I wrapped the entire thing in carbon fiber and added golden accents. I considered adding an LED display where I could add text or animations, but it interfered with the cap's sleek and stylish look, so I scrapped it. Since the cap is 3D printed and not made out of soft fabric, it won't shape to the head. Therefore, it took several tries and a mountain of filament before the cap fit snugly. I also added a layer of foam inside the rim for comfort. Great for those of us that don't happen to have a perfectly shaped egghead. I sewed on some authentic AliExpress fox leather, but I ran out of thread, so I undid an old attempt, which left me with this wrinkly mess. Wrinkly thread, no need to worry. After a relaxing steam spa session, your string will feel rejuvenated, as good as new. Through the loop and perfect. Now it was time to glue on the carbon fiber to make it qualify as an astronaut helmet. It was my first time working with carbon fiber, and let me tell you, it was a pain in the ass to work with. Just look at that thing, it stretches like an accordion. This really looking like some shibari shit. I don't think this is how Koenigsegg does it. Okay, so I ran into an issue, it kinda looks like shit. Instead, I split the cap into smaller segments. You little While it was an absolute pain to work with carbon fiber, I was actually pretty proud of the results. I learned a lot, and I'm eager to use it more in future projects. Subscribe for that. For power, I disassembled an old power bank that had been laying around as a relic from the Pokemon Go era. Then I connected all of the electronics and installed them into the cap. Once everything was glued in place, the electronics for some reason stopped working. And as I tried to troubleshoot the issue, my hand decided to be a jerk, causing me to instead short-circuit the board entirely. So time to replace it with another power bank. Once I had resoldered and attached the new circuit board, I was about to just slightly adjust one of the wires and short-circuit again. If I had $1 for every time I short-circuited stuff, I would have $3. Not a lot, but more than I make on YouTube. Thankfully, I have yet another power bank donor. I didn't realize the motor would sound like I had a mosquito stuck in my head. Now, some of you folks might have noticed the lack of gold on the gears. Unfortunately, I realized after my graduation that I forgot to paint the gears golden like I had planned, which is a bummer because they probably would have looked a lot better. Finally, for the finishing touches, I sprayed the cap with clear coat and some eye-catching golden accents. I planned on gluing some golden fabric to the inside, but I realized this wouldn't work practically without wrinkles. Realizing a steamy spa wouldn't help this time, I ended up spraying it too. Ooh, so shiny. And it's done! It's not your typical graduation cap, but it will sure make the graduation more memorable. If you liked how it turned out, then smash that like button. Graduation is tomorrow, and I ran into an issue. The charger, that motherfucker, it detached. It just wanted, it's gonna have to be that way. So that's fucking great. Another thing which is great would be if you would like this video, cause I really do need the emotional support at this point. Well, now it's time for the graduation day. I didn't record anything from the graduation because I didn't want my whole school to know about my YouTube channel, but my cap got loads of compliments, including my technology teacher, who admired it for a good while. In the end, the cap turned out better than I expected, and surprisingly I did end up saving money, which I honestly doubted during the process. My DIY cap costs about 50 to as low as 25% of what a store-bought cap would go for, although if you factor in the time that was invested, it was definitely more costly. Like or dislike to show what you thought about the project, comment if you have any feedback, and don't forget to subscribe for more cool projects.